Please make sure that you have a pen and paper. We have resources. We have a small activity that we'll be doing this morning as well. So please join us in Zoom, or again, even if you're on Facebook, just grab your pen and paper. I would love for you to jot some things down. All right.
I've let the Zoom participants in.
Nice. Good morning, community. How are you? Good morning. Good morning, Wake Up family. So good to see y'all. Glad to be back.
Good morning.
Peace and blessings.
Good morning. How are you?
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Good morning. Abimo and Bembola.
Yeah.
Summer. Good morning, Summer. Good morning. Adam. Good morning. Hey, Purple. Good morning. So happy to see y'all this morning. So happy to be back. I was here last week and I'm here again to do a part 2. So thank y'all for inviting me back in to give some more information. It wasn't enough time last week apparently, so we we had some more to unpack. So good morning, family. Good morning, Zakiya, I'm sorry. So Sophia, what's up? Good morning. So happy to be back in the space with y'all today. We're gonna work today, so please make sure that you have a pen, some paper handy. We're gonna do some activity today, in addition to the resources and information that I'll be giving out today. So please make sure you have that ready to go. Good morning, Louise. I'm gonna call you Cuz. The Galloway name. It's my family name is Galloway from North Carolina too. Good morning. Oh, I did say it right. Okay, Zakiya. Thank you, Zakiya, for the correction. Good morning. Right, y'all. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning, everyone. All right, please don't forget, get your pen, get your paper. We're gonna do some work. Hopefully start off on a really empowering journey and a powerful journey. We don't have time to we don't have a lot of time, so please make sure you have it handy. Facebook community, again, if you want to come on in, join us in the Zoom space, but continue to chat it up. Can't see you, but good morning.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke. Stay woke. Stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
All right. Good morning again, Facebook family and Zoom family, Wake Up community. Again, my name is Catherine, Mbali Green Johnson. I'm so happy to be back with you all. I was here last week with talking about honoring our legacy, ancestral remembrance, reconnection and reparations. The conversation was so full that I was invited back to do a part 2 this week. Really excited to do that with you all, and just giving some of the same information, but also some activities to go along with it so we can dive in deep. So again, if you're just joining us, please make sure you have a pen and paper handy so you can join in this activity with us this morning. My work centers around ancestral remembrance and community advocacy. I do many things in my world, in my life. I run a nonprofit organization, which is called Arts East New York. I founded that about 12 years ago. We do lots of work in the East New York, Brooklyn community that centers around youth and actually from 0 to 99. We serve the whole community. We use the arts as a tool for social and economic change for the East New York neighborhood. And murals that you've seen around East New York, if you've been in that community, that more than likely has been our work. We've done community events. We do youth programs, a whole gamut of things. Now with COVID, we're online, but we still work with our kids and doing oral history projects, and especially work on COVID as well, collecting stories of first responders. We just finished that project up over the summer, and it was absolutely beautiful. We'll be doing some public artwork based off of what the kids collected during their oral history projects this summer, and that will be up in the spring. I also have a consulting company, which I started about a year ago, which is called Mbali's Manifestations. You can visit my website. You'll see at the end of today's session a link to the site where you can take a look at all the things that we do. I do, take on different schools and nonprofit organizations and community orgs to help them with their oral history projects, specifically to the African diasporic communities. So we do, I just finished up a project which you'll see today, which is another oral history and remembrance project. I also do travel. We take groups of people to places across the world and reconnect with the African diasporic experience. A couple of things that we've done, we've taken a group of youth to Cuba in 2018, I believe it was. That was an incredible experience, and those kids did a beautiful exhibition around the stories that they collected and the connections that were made in Cuba. In 2019, we did Senegal. We'll be doing Senegal again this year. So with that being said, that is my work. That's what I've been gifted to do. I'm very clear on my role here on this planet, and I'm really excited to continue to share with you all. So for today, I'm going to share a couple slides, not too many. Some of you may have seen them from last week, but little different spin on them. So we'll just do a quick review on honoring our legacies, and please let me know, admin, if the slides are showing properly. All right, thank you. All right, so honoring our legacy, ancestral remembrance, reconnection, and reparations. What you see here in the background is an image. This is the first mural that we did at Arts East New York, which was can't tell you how many years ago, but it was a year that Trayvon Martin was taken away from us. And unfortunately, we've added other faces over the years. So you see Mike Brown and, well, Amadou Diallo, which happened before, and yeah, folks that we want to make sure that we continue to honor and never forget what has happened throughout our culture. And this mural is up on Livonia Avenue in East New York, Brooklyn. If you're in Brooklyn, please take a ride by, check it out. It's been, shared lots of times, and folks really love to come here and remember and share their stories. Right. So these are other ways that we remember in our work. You can see the artist here, Mr. Abdul Badi. I'm sure you've seen his work around. I discovered him in Atlanta, Georgia, not knowing he lived around the corner from our art gallery in East New York, Brooklyn. He's finishing up the mural of Trayvon in the center here. On the left, you'll see a panel discussion that we had with Black men in the community that were informing this work, informing the work of the mural. We had 7 young men do an oral history project with these gentlemen who are sitting at the table, collecting their stories, and then those stories poured into what you saw on the mural. So the really collective process. These are the backs of the young men who were actually painting over the wall. That wall was it was used as at the time that it was Crips on that side of East New York, the gang, if you're not familiar, and they were using this wall for messaging. So, we had conversations with other orgs who, dealt with the population, make sure it was okay, that we were going to paint over it and we were going to replace it with something that was, of ancestral remembrance. And nothing has happened to that mural ever since we painted over it those years ago. On the right, you see a project that we did called the African Burial Ground Square, New Lots Avenue. If you're not familiar, there's a New Lots library underneath the New Lots library, and the park that sits behind it underneath it is an African burial ground. We've discovered this and have been working with the community leaders in East New York to rename the 4 corners of that block, the African Burial Ground Square. There's several projects going on right now, which we collectively as a community came up with goals. So the park right now is being renovated. It's called Sankofa Park. And that park will have, it's just going to be absolutely gorgeous for the neighborhood, where kids can go and play, but they will also learn about the burial ground. And then the library, which we did a huge charrette and community engagement process. We are redoing the library. I believe there was about $10 million given by the community council members, Inez Barron, Charles Barron, and some other city officials to renovate the New Lots library, which will be, will look like one of like the Schomburg or something even, more beautiful, to make sure that there is remembrance, that there are monuments, there are plaques, etc., outside of the building, so folks know, the youth, everyone are aware that this ground is sacred and that there are people who helped build the East New York neighborhood, and that we never forget them. So I want to ask, how do you remember? How do, we have all these different ways in which we experience our ancestors. We learn about them from our families. We learn about, we do our own research online. I shared with y'all last week how I use Ancestry.com to do my research, and also did African Ancestry to find out my what tribes and in what region my family comes from on the continent as well. How do you remember? Like what brings us home for you? You see a picture on the bottom of a baobab tree. Baobab trees are, found in Africa. They are where folks have done, communities and villages would gather under and share stories, and the elders would, share stories with the youth to make sure we continue keeping tradition and keeping our stories alive. Many other things are done with the baobab tree. The baobab tree is incredible. If you know of it, put it in, throw it up in the chat. If you know anything about it, I'm sure some of you out there, which are natural healers, know the properties of the baobab tree as well. It's a succulent It's in the middle of desert, sometimes in the middle of nowhere, sometimes, so animals and people can get nourishment from the tree. So it means so many things. But how do you remember? All right, I am just showing really quickly, again, you saw this last week, research tools. And if you didn't get it last week, please take a picture, jot these down so that you can do some research on your own family history. Okay, in your own family histories, please, please, please take.
Catherine, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted for some reason. A lot of you, thank you. A lot of you had reached out to me because the slide, we didn't get to get the slides. I'm just resharing it. You also see my family tree on the side. It's just absolutely incredible how I was able to go from no history on my father's maternal side and paternal side, quite honestly, to being able to go back 4 generations on my father's maternal side. So it's a great tool. I really recommend it. And again, I used African ancestry and was able to trace my lineage back to the Bisa people of Burkina Faso. And so absolutely incredible to unlearn and learn new information. Right. So I'm going to take you to this project that I've been working on, which is called Sankofa, Honoring Our Stories. And I'm hoping that this will work. Yes, it does. Yay. All right. Can you all see that? Perfect. All right. So this website is what we created. My client, which is the South Orange Village Center, was able to do this for Black History Month, and it was an absolutely awesome project. So we were able to collect stories from 10 people in the community. You could see their names here and behind our images of the neighborhood as well. This gentleman in particular, Mr. James Davis, I just thought his story was extremely powerful. And what we did was train 6 youth in the community to be interviewers. We actually co-created the questions for all of the interviewees. We were able to have them conduct the interviews, dig deeper, and create some more programming behind this project as well. So Mr. James Davis, I wanted to play a little bit of it. I don't know where we are with time. And I can't see the chat. So if the admin can help assist with anything, okay, great. But anything that's coming up in the chat before I share Mr. Davis's story. We're good? Okay.
Yes. In the chat, we have Nefertiti, who was sharing her remembering of the library and her heritage. And if Nefertiti would like to come on and just share the content shared with us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all. And this is awesome, amazing work you're doing. I lived in East New York for many years, and that library was my spot. So my father's Ghanaian and my mother's African American, and I grew up on both continents. And the way I remember my ancestors is to practice. I honor my ancestors by celebrating what is called Akwasi Day. I'm Ashanti, and the day recurs every so often, and we pour libation, and we offer food for a certain amount of time, and then we eat the food. And this has been a tradition in my family ever since I was born. So that's one of the primary ways that I honor my ancestors.
Ashe, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And I'd love to hear how others remember, what traditions that that you, like Nefertiti, that you have, learned, you grew up with, but some folks have just created new traditions. Like, are there new traditions that you've created in your families to remember? For us here, with my family, we have an ancestral altar, but what I've just sort of done with the kids is just like, let's just take time. We light out a candle, we sit around the ancestral altar, and we share stories of just remembering, those who are on the altar, just to keep their memories alive. So, Charmaine, is there anything in the Facebook world anyone sharing?
No, not at this time.
Right. All right. And if any of you, please continue to share. Thank you, Juneteenth. Absolutely. And how we share our accomplishments. Absolutely. Jacqueline, can you come off camera and talk about your Juneteenth celebration?
I can't come off camera right now,
I mean,
yeah, my Juneteenth, I learned about Juneteenth when I went to college. I didn't know anything about it growing up. My mother's from the Caribbean. That's not something that we celebrated as a Caribbean family. But after my aunt died, who was the glue that kept most of the family together around holidays like Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that, I decided to carry on her tradition, but I did not agree with celebrating those holidays in particular. And because I had learned of Juneteenth, I decided to make that the family reunion slash, celebration of our African, Black, American, Caribbean, or whatever heritage. And so, I looked up, I already knew of some things from the way it was celebrated in Buffalo, New York, where I went to school. And I decided to have the big barbecue with the food and all of that and the music. And I would sometimes collaborate with the DJ so that she would play particular music so that the youth would know where these songs are coming from that they're rapping over. And, sometimes Purple, a couple of times I think Purple performed, maybe once or twice. And we talked about who graduated. We celebrated graduations, we celebrated births, we celebrate whatever there was to celebrate. We would I would ask them to give it to me in advance so that after we read the information about what Juneteenth is, that we would pour libations for our ancestors, and then we would talk about the accomplishments from the year before, what has happened since then. And of course, if there were any deaths, we would give awareness to that. And basically that's it. That was just a way to keep the family together. And I still did it during the pandemic last year. It was just very scaled back, and I had people, separated all over the place. And it wasn't the traditional Juneteenth, but I wanted to continue. I didn't want to have a break in the celebration. And I'm complete.
Thank you. Wow, yeah, and all of that we're pouring in. Yeah, Robin, yeah, I felt you coming in too. Thank you for that, for sharing about the ancestral feast. And I see Zakia, your tradition and ancestral table as well. Thank you for continuing to share, because surprisingly, I've found that a lot of folks don't have the tradition. Though we have some pictures up, but just doing something ceremonious will really help us to remember and bring in the energy of those who have come before us, and help to guide us as well. All right, I'm gonna go back to the slide. Thank you for sharing that. All right, and we'll get back to our slide. Give me 1 second. Okay. So before I share that, I'm actually not going to share it because we're kind of short on time. I do want to talk about go into reparations. So some of you have heard of reparations, some of you have not. Reparations is basically something that has been done in this country and in other countries many times over. From my work on reparations and the groups that I work with on this topic, it means the following, and so this is really long, so just to bear with me. It's a measure to help to heal. right? And so it's a measure for restitution, measures to restore victims to the original situation before they suffered gross violations of international human rights laws. For example, restitution of liberty, identity, family life, and citizenship, return to one's place of residence, restoration of employment, and return of property. The other definition would be compensation, a monetary quantifiable award for any economically accessible damage as appropriate and proportional to the gravity of the violation and the circumstances of each case, such as lost opportunities, loss of earnings, and moral damage. The other would be rehabilitation, medical and psychological care, as well as legal and social services. Satisfaction, a broad category of measures ranging from those aiming at this cessation of violations to truth speaking, the search for the disappeared, the recover of reburial remains, public apologies, judicial and administrative action sanctions, commemoration and memorialization, and human rights training. Lastly, guarantees of non-repetition, a broad category including institutional reforms, strengthening judicial independence, the protection of human rights defenders, human rights trainings, the promotion of international human rights standards in public service, law enforcement, the media, and psychological and social services. All right. Reparations has been successful in this country and others over the years. You all, I'm sure, are familiar with the Holocaust and the reparations that were given by Germany to the Jewish communities. The apartheid reparations, which happened in South Africa, the Japanese internment, which happened here in America, forced sterilization that happened to Black communities in North Carolina, the Tuskegee experiment, which I'm sure you all know, if you don't know, which was the spread, what's the word? Early, it was the STD that was spread amongst Black men, and syphilis. Oh, I'm sorry, it's too early. Syphilis that was spread amongst Black men, I think in the 50s. Rosewood also was a massacre that happened in Oklahoma. I see some chat going on here. John Call, is there anything in the chat that I need to be aware of, because that I can't see?
Okay, as I look in, we have a few other people that have made comments, and if anyone there have made comments in the chat that would like to expand on what they shared, if you can come off the chat, come off mute. And I see Z, who shared some of her experience. Would you like to give us elaborate on that for us, Z?
Yes, greetings, family.
Greetings.
I want to say, before I say anything else, for those of who were with us online yesterday, hopefully you notice a little bit of a difference in my voice. Not so much huskiness. Y'all that we're on will understand what I'm saying. Okay, so I've always been the one in the family wanting to know about history, about our history, about history in general, about so I'm the one always doing the research and going and talking to the elders. The last one, my dad was the last one. My dad had on both sides. My mom was an only child, so my dad was the last one on his side, and his mother, actually, my grandmother, I got a lot of family history from. She lived to almost 105, and I wasn't in Bermuda a lot, but anytime I would go, I'd go and sit with her for hours and just listen to her, let her talk, because she was at a point of she never went had Alzheimer's, but she got to a point of dementia where she would repeat herself a lot. So I just let her talk rather than I started out asking questions. Then I realized it was I got more information just letting her just talk. So I would just sit and listen to her talk for hours when I was there. I'd always make time to go and spend time with her. In my 30s, when I was living in Atlanta, I was shown the Curator put a dream in me that I was to be a cultural clown, and it came out of literally out of nowhere. I never had any thoughts or inclinations to be a clown at all, but I had this very vivid dream of me as a clown, but not just a regular clown, a cultural clown. I was I had my costume was African prince. I had a black yarn wig. I wore a brown face, and I had Africa on one cheek and Nefertiti on the other. My eyes were decorated as if I were an Egyptian. And I was playing with children. I was telling them about their history. I had a collection of African percussion instruments that I would let them play with. And in the process of preparing to do that, I learned that my birthday was Juneteenth, so that was really cool. And I made sure to tell the children about that all the time. That's how I learned about the Juneteenth, because I didn't even know about it until I learned that. And then I taught them whenever I was performing. So I've been and then I've also always gone to I have several friends who are Yoruba and Akan, and they have invited me, and I've often gone to their celebrations, their ancestral celebrations. So I've always acknowledged my ancestors. I teach my grandchildren about the history, about all of it. And that's how I remember.
I appreciate that. So you're in sense a griot, right? Like you're keeping the traditions alive, you're sharing stories, and working with our kids is so important in that way, and especially with playful education is one of the most important things that we can do. I appreciate your share. And I want to make sure that the chat is lighting up, that we get to everyone. But I want to make sure we also acknowledge that it's 7:32, and that this session is supposed to end at 7:30. So if those of you that need to leave, we totally understand. We love you. Purple, I saw had to go. So thank you so much for being in the space today. I'm just going to take like 10 more minutes just to give some more resources, if that's okay, John Carl. Thanks, Charmaine. We're good? Okay, awesome. And then we can wrap up. I just really wanted to give a brief overview of what we did, but I really wanted to get into more around talking around reparations and how you can get involved and what it is, what it truly is. Because a lot of folks, think it's just a check. Cut my check, CTC, which is that, and it can be a myriad, other things. And I saw in the chat, folks are acknowledging folks that things that have happened in the line of operations across the country, and I'm glad that we have that that knowledge in our communities as well. To keep continuing to have this conversation. There are folks who, say, it was 100 some years ago. It really wasn't. It's longer than that. And there are folks who we know today our families that we have known that were born into the institution of slavery. And so that's not that long ago. If you guys weren't online, last week I shared that my great-grandmother, I shared an image of my great-grandmother. She was born into slavery. She died, I think she was 103 when she passed away. But in the picture that I shared with you all, she's hugging my sister Trina, who we talk every day. She was little at the time. So, you know, if you even think about even in that context, like, wait, you know, my sister was actually, you know, in physical contact with someone who was born into the institution of slavery. So it is not that long ago. And even so, there have been historical damages that have happened in this country beyond just the institution of slavery. And so there are things that we need to address and heal in this country, and for us to be able to really move ahead. Thank you all. I'm seeing all of the chat. Yes, thank you, Jacqueline. Some say, why should we pay for what our ancestors did? Absolutely. This country continues to benefit off of the investments of the human labor that has happened to make this country as rich as it is and powerful as it is, especially in other European countries as well. So yeah, it's something that, yes, your ancestors did, but you're reaping benefit of that work as well. So this is why we need to address. Thank you, Jacqueline. All right, so I'm just going to share this last slide just to give another frame of context into how folks are, thank you, how folks are able to address reparations more clearly and succinctly. All right. And so this last slide shows a map from a website called the African American Redress Network. I'll drop the link in the chat for you all so you can visit it. It's an incredible resource. It's a partnership between Howard University and Columbia University. I did an interview with the executive director, law professor from Howard University, Justin Glasson, just runs from my head, but if you go onto my website, you'll see. But these are the cases in which they're able to bring legal, they're able to address reparations and bring HR 40 to light throughout the country. So you see on this map, this is the South Atlantic corridor that they've been focusing on, but there have been other cases in the West as well, but they've been focusing on tracking reparations cases that have been successful or on their way to being processed throughout the country. And so these are local efforts, these are local grassroots efforts. There is a national conversation as well, which is happening. If you saw, Ta-Nehisi Coates did testified at the national for the Senate some years ago, about four years ago. I'm sorry, for Congress about 4 years ago. And there's been huge national movements, organizations that have been doing this work to make sure there's a national movement. But it's really important to do the work on the local level, because different communities have experienced different things in the country. So again, these are the cases in which they have been looking at HR 40, reparations bills being passed, so slavery, lynchings, massacres, historical misrepresentations, murders, segregation, race riots, mass incarceration, and wrongful incrimination and execution. So these are, again, very specific ways, concrete ways in which a community can bring charges against an institution for these human rights violations. It is very important to look at it through a human rights violation lens in order for us to truly understand and bring these cases to light. So just being clear on how you and your communities, if you're would love to, yes, thank you. NIAMO and COBRA is amazing. There's other organizations like NARC, the National African American Redress Coalition, Reparations Coalition. There's so many resources out there. And again, when you visit the African American Redress Network, this website, you'll see a whole slew and list of organizations that you can get involved with. The ACLU also is they're just like steamrolling this thing forward. This conversation has been heating up across the country. If you're not familiar, even President Barack Obama was in an article 2 days ago talking about how reparations are justified. Surprise to me because, I love him, but he was, you look quiet on that before and push it to the side, but I'm happy that he is now speaking up about this being an important issue in order for us to really heal in the country. Thank you. I will put the website in here just 1 second. And so with that, I am going to ask the following questions of you. I'm just going to take, actually, here, I'll just select someone to work with. I want to ask, what would be your goal, or what would you like to see if we were dreaming together? Actually, I'll just ask everyone, if we were dreaming together, what would you like to see as a repair for this country? Like some folks, and I'll give you some example, in some communities, there's been free college tuition for youth in a neighborhood. There's been, of course, lands that has been thought about and given to communities of color to set aside for communities of color who have worked on, property plantations. What would you like to see? And we need voices to add to this conversation so that we can really start to dream and to say, this is the way that we see healing taking place. Whether they're more human rights trainings. We see a lot of the race trainings going on in the country as well. That's one thing. What would you like to see? More opportunities? Throw it in the chat because we don't have much time left on the session. So please just put it in the chat. Put thank you. Education is critical. Absolutely. Please just throw it up and dream, because sometimes when we don't have a goal or focus in mind, it just becomes so big and it's something so, it's not tangible. So I really just push you to think and dream, what would that look like for you and your families? Thank you. A national push for reparations. Do not leave it to the states. I'm thinking to land stealing in the Gullah. Yes. Woo. Yes, that has been, I can't even tell you how disgusting that has been. So if you're not familiar with Jacqueline's talking about, in the Gullah Geechee Islands, land has been snatched from folks who've been living on that land for a long time, with some trumped up, like you didn't pay your water bill charges, a water bill that they hadn't even seen in like 18 years. And based off of that, they're stealing, taking that land back and building these golf courses in South Carolina and the Gullah. It's just absolutely ridiculous. You think of redlining, right? Redlining happens in communities of color where actual legislators and banks, etc., took red marker and surrounded communities of color on a map and refused to give resources to those neighborhoods. And I'm talking like bank loans and, just different services to continue keep the infrastructure of those neighborhoods up. So you see communities like East New York and, other communities across the country that would call ghettos, right? This was systemic, right? That was planned. It's not like as if people just wanted to live in communities that were just in shambles. This is what was happening. This was planned. There were resources held back from those neighborhoods. And so you want to look at things like that. How do we address that? How do we, that doesn't even go back to slavery. That was like 20 years ago and it's still going on today. So how do you, thank you, grants for home ownership, absolutely. What I did a charrette one year, a couple years back on reparations, and someone actually thought of, mortgages, like just paying off mortgages on homes of African Americans, like that being definitely being stolen from Facebook. peoplehood being stolen is a major need in our area for addressing reparations. Oh yes, disappearances, right? I shared last week, I had a great uncle who came up during the Great Migration from South Carolina to New York and disappeared. Like my dad and my family, we don't know what has happened, what ever happened to him. There were people who were snatched off the street and brought into the mines to work, right? For minor infractions like jaywalking, they were arrested and put to work in the mine, in coal mining. So folks were disappearing, absolutely. Thank you. Compassionate, free education, compassionate, community-focused health services, home ownership, land ownership. Thank you. National curriculum, yes, absolutely. People's history, Black history, as American history, with the truth about historical events, equity and sentencing. Absolutely. That is actually something that is taking place and really doing well. Folks are like just really working hard on sentencing and mass incarceration is really looking at mass incarceration and what has happened. So massive overhaul of the criminal justice system, absolutely, and review of cases. Yes, please continue to have these conversations and dialogue. Thank you. Self-love, respect, mental health, and support. Absolutely. You know, one of the things we always, I've heard in a couple interviews, you know, folks blame themselves for what their situations and not really understanding that it's these things are part of a whole system, right? Things are kept to oppress. And so, yes, we have to focus on our own self-love, our own healing, our own respect, and mental health. But we also need to recognize that there are, you know, there are things that are preventing us from mental health services, right? Getting the proper services. And so how do we address making sure that this trauma, this generational ancestral trauma is healed, and having it readily accessible to the African American community. So, and for the Caribbean American community, all of those who have been touched by colonialism and the system of slavery as well. So with that, I love you all. Continue to think, continue to reach out for, yes, trust funds, yes. Continue to think up, dream up, and I'm gonna drop the website in the chat for the African American Redress Network so you can all check it out for yourselves. But I also want you to look at the Movement for Black Lives Matter campaign, in that on their website, there are different toolkits. So wherever you live, whatever community that you're in, if you'd like to just look through it and have these conversations with your families, with your, you know, some organizations in your neighbor, your church, you know, start to have these conversations and dialogues. My next project that I'm working on is actually an artist project that I'm working on. My first time taking on something like this. I will be traveling throughout the country doing these charrettes, dreaming of what has happened, dealing with what has happened here in your neighborhood, and how do you want this addressed, and taking that to, you know, the local leadership and pushing for reparations bills and throughout those communities. So really important. I love you all. I want to heal with you all, but I want to make sure that our healing is sustainable, that our healing is supported throughout the country, and that there's no repeats. You know, there's no repetition in the traumas that continuously happen throughout Black and Brown communities. All right. Thank you all again so much. It's 7:49. So John Carl, I'm gonna let you hit those slides.
Yes, I'm getting it together. The first slide I'm going to pull up is your special offer. So if you would like to introduce that as I'm pulling it up.
Okay. All right. So special offer today, I mentioned earlier as a part of one of the programs that I offer. My husband and I started a travel company, and we will be taking our first trip to Senegal this summer. If it's a little too soon for you, that's fine. We have other trips that will be coming up, but this discount will be available for the Wake Up community. So as you go onto my website, you can send me a message. You can make sure you put the Woo 2021 in the message and the subjects, and then we can, we will definitely follow up with you on these trips. Thank you so much. Next slide. Oh, we missed the contact page, but let's see. One more. There you go. So contact me. This is a phone number that you can reach me at. This is my Facebook page as well as the Instagram. And you see also my website and email address. Please make sure you reach out. I did get quite a few of you who reached out last week, and I thank you so much. But yeah, if you have any additional questions or need additional resources, please feel free to reach out to me in any one of these ways. Next slide. Next up is, my goodness, my love, Sister Renee Smith is up tomorrow with Divine Feminine Flow, a healing praxis. This woman is incredible. She has, helped me heal after the loss of my dad, and she just, with her oils and just her divine goddessness. So please make sure you're online tomorrow to check out Renee for her presentation, her workup presentation. Next slide. All right. So the schedule here, you guys know, Zoom Live, we are on from 7 a.m. to 8:30 on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's in half hours, 7 a.m. to 7:30. And catch us on Facebook, catch us up here in the Zoom space. Next slide. All right, and that's it. Thank y'all. Stay in touch. Please share the Wake Up community. More folks need to be aware of what we are talking about, what's happening in this incredible space, this gift that Shawnee Renee Benson has given us. So please share with more so we can continue to grow the Wake Up community. And I thank y'all again. Thank you, admin, for doing this work. For supporting me today, and all of you. And I'm sorry, I forgot to put the website here. I'm actually going to put it on the Facebook page because I think we're running out of time. So I'll put it on the Facebook page today. Please make sure that you check it out. Yeah, I'm complete.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing part 2 of your Honoring Our Legacy, Astral Remembrance, and Reconnecting and Reparations, a very valuable session for our community. I love, there was something that came up where one of our members, I believe it was Jacqueline, spoke about how important the list that you shared was, because most people just see it as money. So sharing that list, and I would love to see that list posted in our Facebook group so others can see that, share, remember it, and just have it at hand. And with that, we encourage members from the community to start the conversation and share what they got from this morning session in our Facebook group, and share it as a separate post. We want to increase the dialogue and show that our community is active. So just share what you get this morning, family. And at this time, I will like to do what we do best here and begin our love shower, and thank Catherine for her wealth of knowledge that she shared with us this morning.
Thank you so much, Catherine. Truly appreciate you and all that you bring. Always just so informative when you come on, and I really appreciate you and the resources that you offer us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that you do for the community. You're very much appreciated.
Thank you, sister. I got on late, but it was really the part I thought was great. Thank you very, very much.
Yay, Catherine! Yay! La, 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 whoop, whoop, yeah. La, 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 whoop, whoop. Girl, you did it again. Yes,
Bringing
girlfriend.
all that sunshine this early in the morning.
And let's move forward, everybody.
We need that sunshine. It's gray up here.
Best time for it.
That's right.
That's right.
So grateful to you, Catherine. Thank you so much. You do so much that people don't even realize behind the scenes, and you are just such a blessing to everyone in every way that you show up. I truly, truly appreciate you and love working with you. Thank you.
Yes, this is such a blessing, especially after watching US versus Billie Holiday yesterday. I was feeling so disgusted.
Thank y'all so much.
So much.
And I'm learning so much, you know. One of the disadvantages of going to schools, you don't get this exposure, is that you now have to catch up. I am forever grateful for this knowledge.